All right, so hyperdrive, right? You going for SLKR.
Yes,
What are you
sir.
missing from SLKR? Do you know?
I'm missing Luke, FOTP, and was it I think it's Fu. Yeah, Fu's my last one as well. Just those
Oh,
three.
okay.
And then like the tickets. I was just reading about the tickets. I didn't know that was a thing, but I
Yeah,
was
dude,
kind of scared that
they made that ridiculously annoying. All right, mad respect for the cup, my friend.
it's a new edition.
All
New
right,
edition.
it doesn't matter how new as long as it's there. All right. So you said you're trying to like fill out some holes while you wait for those last few characters to get up.
Yeah, so I have a couple teams that are decent. Obviously, Commander Luke. My Chewie's pretty weak.
Uh huh.
Bendo might toss a Zeta in there or something. Not a Zeta, but a relic or two.
Okay.
But
Yeah, the thing about the CLS team is if you throw a relic on like just Chewbacca or Chewbacca and Han Solo, it can punch up quite a bit. So it's not a team that you necessarily need to put um, a lot of like resources into to get it like a step up in terms of viability.
okay.
Um, I don't know what you're farming in hard node right now, but getting Django up to 7 stars would be pretty helpful. Not only because he'll carry you through the Chewbacca, so you can have 7 stars and be able to relic that
Mhm.
Chewbacca. But do you have your Padme yet? I didn't see.
No, I do not. I'm
Okay.
getting destroyed in that one.
Most people find me like just off of YouTube free because of the Padme guides, because Django can basically solo the Padme event.
Mm,
So if you get that Django just up to like 7 stars, gear 11, maybe even gear 12, if you're feeling adventurous, you'll have a 7 star Padme, you'll have a 7 star Chewbacca, and then you can.
okay.
Those are teams where they're not super highly relic intensive, where you can still get them being viable, especially at like the 2.5 million GP area.
Hmm.
Like for Padme, for instance, Padme you don't really need to like. My Padme is still Relic 1. I'm probably never gonna bring her up above Relic 1, but if you can get her like gear 10, gear 11, gear 12, and then have just like, I don't know, Anakin slightly more strong, the Padme team will work wonders on defense while you fiddle around with all these relics over on offense. Buy you some
Okay.
banners if you happen to have trouble there, but also, it's a fun team to have.
Yeah, 'cause
Um,
I do find trouble just trying to beat them. I don't really have a counter right now
for
for her.
Padme,
Yeah,
yeah,
aside from obviously my first order, but
Padme's kind of tricky. You either need to use like a equal to stronger Jedi Knight Revan team, and then you target Anakin and then just basic him until eventually he dies, and then they don't have enough damage output, and you just slowly whittle away. Or you need to have probably an equal in terms of relic like Traya team with Thrawn.
mm,
You like fracture Kenobi, isolate Padme, and then hopefully you can annihilate Jedi Knight Anakin before he kills anyone.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. Padme is one of those teams where most people save her for offense because she's pretty strong and they're worried about going up against their opponents like Darth Revan or something like that. But if you throw her over on defense, you can definitely trip people up because they're not anticipating going up against a team like that. How do you use your all your first order in GAC? Like how do you split them up?
I switch it up because I know everybody's probably looking at my GG occasionally, but I'll use Kylo, well both Kylos, and I try to use Sith Trooper with Hux and try to toss them on defense and back row occasionally just to trip people up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I usually use the Kylos for little offense,
Yeah,
just
the
because it.
Kylos work pretty well on offense. Um, so yeah, ideally, what I would say is with a little bit more progression towards some teams like CLS, for instance, maybe even getting a bounty hunter team slightly stronger. If you can counter some average to above average teams with them, you can probably use your more powerful characters, like just the two Kylos by themselves, to either solo 2 man or 3 man like back wall teams, because a lot of people don't really put great stuff on the back wall. So if you can get teams that manage to get 56 to 60 banners on whatever they put in the front wall, use your OP characters to get massive amounts of banners on the back wall, you could probably trip them up there. And they just probably wouldn't be able to compete, especially if you throw a half on defense and they have a real tough time sticking against that. Or, like I said, if you get that Padme up there and throw in the back, you could. I doubt a lot of people at 2.5 million GP are really going to be able to out efficient that in terms of banners. Oops.
And actually taking a page out of your playbook, I've started to trying to get max banners on offense, I've started to use Bastila as opposed to Revan on offense, and that's
Mm-hmm.
helped out quite a bit. Just getting those heavy banners. I use Kylo or OG Kylo solo once or twice and got some pretty decent banners. So
Yeah,
yeah,
OG Kylo at Relic 7 is ridiculous. Uh, his AOE and then the stun, like it's so hard to counter him even with a full team because he just does massive damage. But yeah, definitely a character that you should be looking to solo more often. Even if you take him out of a normal lineup and you use like I don't know, like a normal first order lineup or maybe even two first order lineups on defense. Once you've built up enough teams, like let's say you look at your opponent roster and you say, oh, they have these teams, they're more offensively geared. Like if someone saw this, they'd say, well, you could probably use these either way because first order is slightly more defensive than offensive, but at Relic 7, I mean, you can use anything on offense. But if you
yeah,
see people have like Jedi Knight Revens and Darth Revens and not Malik, that means they're probably going to use it on offense because those characters are probably new to them and people love using the new stuff on offense. So if you notice that, then you can put your first order on defense, put a stronger defense, kind of trip them up because you know that they're probably going to place weaker teams on their defensive side. And all right, I like how you have your Scion and your Traya. Not a lot of people like ever actually do that, and they really get messed up. Like today, I don't even know if I recorded my GAC. I think I forgot to press the record button, but I had like a 5-star Geonosian Brood Alpha on defense, and like at like 3 million GP, there's no excuse to not being able to beat a weak like Geonosian team. And
uh-huh.
the guy had Traya, and he dropped like 6 battles against it. So
Jeez.
having the Traya, especially with the leadership Zeta, is ridiculously important and honestly underused. Let me see if you have. Do you have Nihilus?
I do. He's pretty trash. He's like straight out of the bundle.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I've a couple shards on him, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, he's not a character that you necessarily need to rush, but if you can get him to gear 12 with Scion at gear 12, he has great utility because his Annihilation, like, he doesn't have great synergy with anyone other than Traya, but the Annihilate, honestly, you can throw him in with any other team. Um, that's more the case for if you're like maybe 2 million GP as opposed to 2.5, but if you can get him at gear 12, you can throw him in with literally anything. And
So it works
incredibly
out.
effective. Yeah, definitely a plug and play character that not a lot of people think about.
So I was thinking about going after Mando and those guys, but I was like, I don't want to add too many more characters to what I have up here,
I'm gonna be
just
honest with
because of that
you.
annihilate.
I just finished the Mando farm. I have Bam at, you know, gear 10 maybe. He
Mm.
requires so many resources to get him to a usable gear,
Mm.
and his characters are not like accelerated rate characters. I would steer clear.
Fair enough.
Honestly, I would get Darth Revan before that. I would get Gas honestly before that.
Mm-hmm.
I I did it just for testing purposes because I knew that like he was going to be a legendary like when they first announced the Mando character way back whenever that was. I knew that something was coming out, so I started farming towards it, and it was honestly a huge regret. Definitely not something that I would recommend that you or honestly anyone would do.
Fair enough. Yeah, I want to say Darth Revan will probably be my next legendary. After I'll probably still push for Supreme Leader,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll do Darth Revan, and then I was just showing up his holes.
Yeah, if you're already
Is
this deep, you gotta get SLKR as soon as possible.
what about ships? What's your take on?
Let's see what you got over
'Cause
here.
I've gotten to number 5 in my shard pretty frequently. I'm not sure where I'm at now. 11.
Oh, are you using I hate how
Yeah,
they
classic.
they don't filter ships by power right off the bat, which is kind of weird.
Nah,
Um, how much of the the get to currency do you have?
I have 27K. I haven't touched it.
Okay, what I would do, I don't know what your fleet shard looks like. Um, are they like all negotiators and malevolences and stuff?
Yeah, it's the top three are Malevolence, and there's like a Negotiator, and maybe there's like a random Tarkin in there with Sunfax, or the Geos anyway.
Okay, not a lot of people. I mean, people talk about it, but not a lot of people like go through with it. I don't know why I close ships. You have um why am I bringing your General Kenobi, right? I saw him in there
Yep.
somewhere. If you
Yeah,
get
he's
Negotiator at just 5 stars, like just unlock it, get him up to gear 12 if you can. I know his gear is actually pretty manageable, which is fortunate because he's a very important character. I would honestly take a 5-star Gear 12 negotiator, not negotiator, negotiator. Sorry, I'm tired.
Oh,
Over
good.
like a full relic finalizer team. The relic difference makes the finalizer like a good offensive team, but when you're going against the AI, they never make the correct moves,
Yeah, I've
and you
noticed
can
that.
climb against 7-star malevolences easy. So if you go up against a negotiator, you're gonna get clapped because they're gonna have 7 stars, relic 7. So you can use your finalizer against that. But if you notice that there's like a good jumping spot each night when you're doing your climb with like malevolences, you throw in that 5-star negotiator. It works so amazingly well against. It's like perfect for countering the malevolence, especially when the AI is playing. That like, let's say you're at 11 right now. I think you hop to like, I don't know, 8 with your finalizer. You take out whatever, and then you notice that at 5 you have like a malevolence, and it's a pretty strong malevolence. You might not be able to beat your finalizer. Throw in that negotiator. You hop to 5 with that, and then if you notice at 1 there's a negotiator or something else over there, you can use the finalizer to cap off at 1. So you using that secondary like 5-star negotiator as like a secondary climbing tool is super effective, especially because the meta is half negotiator, half malevolence. Sometimes you're going to need one ship, and sometimes you're going to need another, and you can never really predict like what's going to be there at a certain time. So if you just get that negotiator out of the way, you should have enough currency to get at 5 or 6 stars. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's just an extra tool in the bag. So like if you get to 3, but your finalizer can't get you to 1, and you want those extra 50 crystals or whatever it is, you can throw in that negotiator.
Solid. Yeah, I'll definitely. Yeah, because this fleet pretty decent. Like you say, I'd usually drop. I've gone up to like the mid 30s, in a night, just
Oh
because
yeah,
they
finalizer
don't
does
hold
not
well.
hold well on defense at all.
Mm.
That's the problem. And another thing is if you get the negotiator, like let's say you climb using just your finalizer, after you get to where you go, and let's say you can't get to 1, and you have like 1 battle left, do like a random battle with negotiator and then back out just so that you have it on defense, so that you drop low, like you don't drop as far, so that the next day when you have to battle, you don't have to climb quite as far.
Right, right, right. Okay,
Yeah,
makes
same thing
sense.
with, I don't know, like higher gear players do that in like squad arena. Like they'll do battle with SLKR all day, but then they'll put Jedi Knight Master Luke Skywalker on defense before they go to bed because he won't fall as far.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. You got a decent rebel fleet compared to the rest of your characters.
And that's generally who I run on defense is my rebels,
Yeah.
and I usually get a couple holds for whatever reason.
I love Home One way too much. I don't know
Mm.
why. I mean, it's because it gets great banners on GAC. Like I got 72 banners today. I did a
Whoa,
Houndstooth solo. It was so great.
what the
But
hell?
yeah, my opponent placed everything on defense except for a ship, and he still couldn't get through my negotiator. But the home one, I love just keeping it like in the wing, because sometimes if your opponent places like a really terrible defense on ships, you throw in Houndstooth, like Millennium Falcon, and like anything else in the 3rd slot, and you don't need to bring anything else in. Han will recover himself. Houndstooth pretty much takes care of himself. Plus, you have that middle ability on home one to recover banners. And then if all 4 of them are blank and you know that you can take that out, which you definitely can at 2.5 million
Yep.
GP, there's going to be a lot of fleet battles that you can easily do that. If you throw in like, I don't know, I don't even remember what it's called, Phantom in there, and just those 3, you're going to come away with probably 66 to 68 banners every single time. And fleet is one of those
Oh,
places where lots of people go down to like 55. Like if you go against a negotiator or something. So lots of people
mm.
leave a crap ton of banners for their opponents in fleets. So yeah, another
All
reason
right.
to relic Han and Chewbacca.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like that's that's reason enough for me.
I think on the account I use for YouTube, my Chewbacca is my first relic because he's just so useful as a relic.
Yeah, and I've noticed I have like that Veers Zeta. I use the troopers, but I kind of want to take it back. Um,
Yeah, the
there
troopers
aren't
are
too many
nice if
Zetas
they're
to burst.
already geared up. Like at this stage,
Mm-hmm.
they're middling usefulness. If they could just
Mm-hmm.
instantly be like Gear 12, Relic 1, yeah, they're great. The problem is you have to stop so many farms, which is super
Right.
annoying. Like right now, I'm passively farming up like Range Trooper and Piet, and it's just so annoying because it's gonna take forever. And gearing them is a pain because they have surprisingly difficult gear requirements for some reason. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Um, that's usually the thing that I hate the most is like older characters have super easy gear crunches because like the game
Yeah,
wasn't as whaley back then.
even
It's
like
like,
Nihilus and Palp are pretty like Palp. I think I geared him like in a month to 7.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Darth Vader has a ridiculously easy gear process as well. So
Yeah, I need to. That's another
after
one I
you get
keep
your
mad at
SLKR,
myself.
normally I say for newer players this should be the first relic, but since you're already so close to SLKR, get your
Hmm.
SLKR and then immediately after that get Darth Vader to relic 5 if you can.
Okay, 5, solid.
Because that way you can use him either to solo and get good banners giving you an edge, or if you notice that your opponent places Geos and Padme, since you said you had trouble countering Padme, I mean you wouldn't have trouble with SLKR, but maybe you'll use it against
Mhm.
their Galactic Legend. But that means you can save that Traya to counter a Padme and use Darth Vader to solo the Geonosians, which is helpful if you trip up against a Padme or something like that, like you said. So characters that are super useful after SLKR, I'd probably say honestly Anakin, Vader. Get those guys relic after you get your SLKR.
Django, you'd mentioned.
I wouldn't relic him. I'd get him to gear 12.
Okay.
You don't need him at gear 12 for the Chewbacca 7-star. You can do it at gear 11, but his gear 12 pieces are actually pretty light, which is why I recommend getting him to gear 12 because it's just it's manageable.
Fair enough.
Maybe get one relic on your Jedi team, just so that someone who's getting like you have one go-to guy for assists.
Hmm.
Most people just relic up Yoda. I went Jedi Knight Revan first. I actually just relicked my GMY. He's
And you got a lot
ridiculous.
of success out of Revan.
Yeah, Revan I use to counter a lot, especially if, like you said you use Bastila on leadership to get some extra banners
Hmm.
when you're attacking. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, but I used to always recommend run Jedi Knight Revan and Jolie Bindo as a 2-man, and then Bastila and Yoda as a 2-man. It works really well up until like 2.5 to 2.8 million GP. Not so much at around 3 million GP, but like still you're going to find from time to time you're going to be able to split that team up. And then if you can have 2 to 3 to 4 battles where you're getting over 60 banners, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to match that.
Solid.
Yeah. So Jolie Bindo's a good relic after SLKR and Vader. Jedi Knight Revan's a good relic. Yoda's a good relic. I would keep Bastila at 12. She doesn't really need to go much higher, but yeah.
Legit.
What are you
I'm trying to
farming in
think.
hard nodes right now? I can't remember what you said.
I'm actually not, man. I'm just doing straight
You're
gear for the
just
for the
gear crush.
SLKR. Yeah.
Here, let's see. You said you need your Luke for SLKR.
It'll be a Han, Fu, and
Oh, you need the
FO2P.
veterans. You need the veteran
Yeah.
smuggler, Han. I haven't looked at the requirements in a while. Fu, I hate Fu so much. Such a useless character. I mean, he passes good turn meter, but
Yeah,
CG
not for
really
the
got
all the
us.
relics.
They really got us with the Galactic Legend requirements. So much money.
Do you I was gonna say, do you see a need in damn, I just lost my train of thought. Somebody was thinking of damn. It'll come back to me.
Was it
It'll
Rebels?
come
Was it
back.
Jedi or something like that?
Yeah, it was somebody you might have scrolled past.
Like down here?
Yeah, maybe. Kenobi.
This Kenobi?
Yeah, what's your how far do you take him?
I have mine at Relic 7 because he's my capital ship for climbing, so it just makes the speed so much easier if I go against mirror matches.
Mhm.
He's a pretty easy gear because he's a relatively old character, but if you do go down that negotiator path, get him up quickly just so that you're faster. But you can probably keep him around gear 12, but once you get that Padme unlock and maybe you get Padme and then eventually relic your Anakin, then I would probably start to say relic him up just so you have survivability on that team. Because that's probably going to take a couple months, and by then you're going to be 3 to maybe 3.5 million GP, and you're
Mhm.
going to need that team to have more survivability. But for right now, since you don't have your Padme and I don't think your Anakin is.
He's pretty trash.
Yeah. So since your Anakin is
And
like
just
5
circles.
stars, you can keep him here for now until you get your negotiator. Then I'd probably bump him up to like 10, 11, 12, and then you can just sit on that until you have your SLKR, you have your Vader up, you've reliced your Anakin, you've got your Padme to 7 stars, your bounty hunters are looking, maybe gear 11, gear 12 across the board. Your Han and your Chewie are there, and then you can probably start bumping them up.
And then Hermit Yoda.
I don't
Do you
have
use him in
Hoda
all your
unlocked,
accounts?
but Hoda is a fantastic character. The
Okay.
only problem is he requires the same tokens as Gas and Malik, which I recommend
Yeah.
hoarding, but since you've already got him at 6 stars, I would honestly just keep him at 6. I don't know how close you are to 7, but I would keep him
I'm
at
like
6.
12 away or something.
Oh, okay, then just get him up to 7 stars then. At that point, it doesn't matter too much, but he
Yeah.
doesn't need to be high gear because like he doesn't get targeted almost ever because he's always under stealth or has the evasion. But
Hmm.
his assist, like his like master's training, I forget what it's called. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is ridiculously good. This and his basic are ridiculously good. If you face a lot of GG teams, I would throw him in with your Jedi Knight Revan because the passive gains back in health and turn meter and assists and all that stuff are ridiculously good. So yeah, if you start to progress, and all of this obviously is going to happen after your SLKR. If you start to
Hmm.
progress into the Jedi, at that point, I would definitely get him up to gear 8 minimum, probably
Okay.
gear 8 at the minimum, just because his assists are ridiculously good for Jedi Knight Revan, especially because his leadership gives back health on assists. And at 3 million GP, you're going to face so many Relic 7 General Grievouses.
Yeah, I'm starting to see him a lot more now, actually.
Yeah,
And
he's a
pretty high
pain.
relic Geos for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Well, the Relic Geos you can manage with Darth Vader, and if they're all Relic 7, you can throw an EP and Darth Vader. EP lead, just so Darth Vader has another turn. But the Grievouses they're an annoying matchup, man. Let me tell you. Every time I stream, I go up against a Relic 7 GG, and I bring in an undersized Jedi team, and everyone's bitching at me. And I have one guy left, Jolie's about to die, he brings everyone back, and eventually I end with perfect banners. It's a roller coaster of
God,
an event unless you have Hoda. Hoda makes it so much more manageable, but without Hoda, it's an emotional roller
noted.
coaster.
Noted.
But yeah, it shouldn't
Jeez.
be too hard to get him just up to gear 8, something like that.
All right. Yeah, so I'll probably finish SLKR, probably move towards Padme a bit, shore up Chewbacca and the Rebels,
Mm-hmm.
and then start looking more at what my Jedis are doing.
That seems like a good
And obviously
strategy, yeah.
Vader.
Yeah, I would do
Okay.
SLKR first and foremost because you're kind of in no man's land until you unlock him, and then once you unlock him, obviously, like it skyrockets everything.
Mm.
Um, like in terms of squad arena, guild events, like conquest stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, so get him done as soon as humanly possible. I'd probably say that immediately go for Vader, and then after that, honestly, I'd say try to relic a Jedi in the Jedi Knight Revan tree, meaning him, Yoda, or Jolie, because Jolie relic just gives you survivability as opposed to offense. Um, After you do that, or while you're doing that, try to get some like backdoor hard node farms for Bosk and Django just to get them to 7 stars. And then until you have Chewbacca, maybe bump up Han to gear 12 so that CLS is a little bit more viable, if not relicking
Okay.
him. And then at that point, you should have your Padme, you should have your Chewbacca, you'll have your SLKR. Like your CLS team will be good. You'll have at least one relic on your Jedi team, and you should be in a really good spot.
And then there's one last question. Do you see any viability in resistance?
Uh, like you're talking Ray.
Yeah, Jedi training.
Oh God, no! Please.
Oof.
She's one of those characters where like if you use her to counter like the Kylos, like yeah, she's great. But the trouble it takes to get her and all of the useless characters around her,
Mm.
it's there's so many characters in this game that are like that. Where like if you watch like a big YouTuber who's got like a 6 million GP account and they have all the characters relicked, like yeah, her kit is good in certain situations, but more often than not, at 6 million GP, you're not going to use her, and even lower, like the amount of times that you're going to be able to use her like intuitively is going to be so few that like the time, the resources, and
Not worth
the
it.
mental suffering is just not worth it.
Okay, yeah, because it came up just thinking about Vet Smuggler Han. I like toss R2 and then a couple of the resistance guys, the hyperdrive ones anyway,
Yeah.
just to see what I get, and it's not really working for me.
Yeah, that's the thing is with Galactic Legends you have a bunch of leftover relics which are useful as heck on like as you're fighting weaker teams, but once you get to the point where every team you use or fight is relic, those characters become so useless that Rey's just like one of those characters, except you have to intentionally farm her as opposed to it's a requirement for like Kylo Ren. So I would steer clear for now at least. Maybe like a
Noted.
year from now, when you're running out of stuff to do, and you're going for Galactic Legend Rey or something.
Fair enough. All right, well, yeah, I guess I got my going forward. What I'm gonna try to knock out.
All right. Any more questions?
Nah, man, appreciate it.
Anytime, man. The chat that I put you in, like the detective chat for like it's for Patreon members and like members on YouTube. It's one of the
Okay.
only two chats that I actually have notifications on for, so you don't need to tag me or anything. If you just message me in there or DM me, I mean I always have my phone because I'm a
2020.
kid pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
I
All
do
right.
school on the computer. I always have it with me. So yeah, if you ever need anything,
Yeah.
just hit me up.
All right. Well, yeah, appreciate it. I'll check out your
Anytime, man.
videos. It's like the Bible right now.
Dude, I'm getting so much backlash because I'm uploading like funny videos while there's nothing to do, and people are
Uh,
like, "Man, I subscribed because of your informative commentary, and now this
like the top five
doo doo."
Zetas.
Yeah,
It's pretty spicy.
yeah,
Pretty
dude.
spicy.
People are gonna be pissed. I'm instead of working on like farming guides, I'm working on a game show. That's what I'm doing right now. Like I'm gonna get Ian, Cubs, like all the guys, and then eventually Arnold, and I'm gonna get them on there. It's gonna be a blast. People are gonna hate it because there's not gonna
It's
be
the
any
community,
actual.
man.
Yeah,
It's the community. That's all it really
they're
counts.
great. They're great guys, but the problem is I'm so much younger than the average player in this game. So I'm
Mhm.
like that darn kid.
Just screwing around. Everybody's trying to be serious.
Yeah, that's why I gotta throw in some guides here and there just to keep the people happy. But gotta throw in some memes.
All good.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Well,
appreciate it though.
enjoy Germany. How much longer are you deployed for?
Bro, I got like literally 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm going to go be a drill sergeant, and I'll be in California doing that gig for a bit.
Oh,
So,
that's nice, dude. I used to like I have family near like San Clemente, and they have a big like SEAL base over there, or like they do
hmm
training over on the beach. And I used to like walk on the beach and see these guys doing buds. I'm like, that sucks.
Look,
It's a little
yeah,
kid.
forget all that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Being a drill sergeant sounds fun. You just yell all day, and
should be interesting. It's an acting job. I think it's an
yeah,
acting job.
dude. Every
Or
time I
do
see
some
those
online
clips, I'm
classes.
like, I'm like, these guys have to be normal human beings. I don't think drill sergeants are actually like that all the time.
Nah, there's no way. Or they have like special counseling sessions for some of those guys because guys get start
Cause
developing complexes and whatnot. But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, don't get a complex.
yeah, nah.
Start yelling
But
at everyone. You can be in the Discord on the live streams yelling at me.
yeah, I'm gonna start my own guild
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks
I don't know
again,
what time
man.
it is over there, but it is dinner
Oh,
time for me, so I gotta get on the grill, feed the family.
for sure, man. Handle your biz, and yeah, appreciate it again.
Yeah. Hit me up anytime, man.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, later.
Yep.